Okay, I found this meme on Facebook. I don't know if it's true. You know, everybody says not everything on the internet is true. You know, Facebook has its habits, let's just say. Okay, so let's go over this. It says Chief Justice Roberts says the rule of law is eroding like we've rarely seen. Maybe he should have thought of that before ruling the president is above the law. You don't get to burn the house down and act shocked it's on fire. So Justice Roberts says the rule of law is eroding like we rarely seen. Okay. So I did a post, I read it to you about penalties for violating the rule of law. Look it up, folks. It's on the net. You know, numerous times throughout my life when I tried to help people, some of them rejected me simply because I wasn't a lawyer. What are you, a lawyer? No. Well, what the hell do you know? I can read. And I literally used to copy these laws out of books, you know, and take it home. And I used to write about stuff like this. Okay, but anyways, penalties for violating the rule of law vary depending on the severity of the offense and the public law broken, ranging from minor fines and community service for infractions to imprisonment, significant fines and permanent loss of rights, and more serious civil and criminal offenses. Consequences can include restitution to victims, probation, and a permanent criminal record impacting an individual's life long after the immediate penalties are served. Types of penalties: fines, monetary penalties paid to the government for various offenses; incarceration, imprisonment in a local jail or state federal prison depending on the severity of the crime; restitution, payments made to the victim to compensate for damages or losses; probation, a period of supervision by the court instead of or in addition to incarceration; community service, unpaid work performed for the benefits of the public; loss of privileges, revocation of certain rights such as a driver's license or the right to hold public office; criminal record, a permanent record or of a conviction that can affect future employment or other opportunities; civil penalties, fines or other legal actions taken in civil cases to deter harmful conduct often applied to businesses; factors influencing penalties: severity of the offense. Minor violations like traffic tickets typically result in fines, while serious criminal acts like theft and fraud can lead to imprisonment. Nature of violation. Violations are categorized into fractions, minor offenses, misdemeanors, and felonies, most serious. Intent and harm. Intentional acts causing greater harm generally lead to more severe penalties. Specific laws. Different laws carry different penalties, with penalties varying significantly between different jurisdictions and counties. Examples of violations and consequences: minor violations, speeding or jaywalking, may result in a fine. Criminal acts: theft or fraud can lead to fines, imprisonment, a criminal record, and restitution. Violations of public trust. Public servants who violate ethics. Remember, I told you, violating the rules, the codes, any laws, the oath, that's an ethics violation. Okay, public servants who violate ethics or anti-corruption laws may face censure, removal from office, large fines, or even imprisonment. Regulatory violations. Businesses violating regulations may face civil penalties and court orders to cease their illegal activities. So Chief Justice Roberts says the rule of law is eroding. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. Let's ask Chief Justice Roberts. See, this guy, this is one of the laws that I mentioned, in the penalties for violating the rule of law. Listen to this guy.
My attorney for ineffective assistance of counsel. Reporting misconduct is mandatory in both the Code of Judicial Conduct as well as the Rules of Professional Conduct. The state's attorney should as well then, Your Honor. You took an oath of public service in violation of that oath is treason. Not to cite my attorney and the state's attorney for violating the rules of professional conduct is a violation of that oath. In judicial conduct, you are also legally obligated and required by the Code of Conduct to do so. My attorney and the state's attorney are therefore required to cite you for judicial misconduct upon failure to do so. Informed consent is required before these proceedings can go forward. It is required I have reasonable knowledge to give informed consent, and that reasonable knowledge would be informing me exactly what due process is, and that's explained in the Rules of Professional Conduct and the Code of Judicial Conduct. A fair trial would require everyone in a court of law making sure that I have reasonable knowledge to give informed consent. Now, effective assistance of counsel is a double-edged sword and cuts every way you swing. Every attorney is required to abide by and enforce the rules of conduct as well as judges. Every lawyer and judge are required to abide by and enforce the Code of Judicial as well. Preferential treatment is forbidden in every court of law, and thus far you have given my attorney and the state's attorney preferential treatment, and they you. Let's not forget the requirements of a quick and speedy trial, which has limits. No one has explained any of this to me. With this being recently discovered, I ask that this case be dismissed with prejudice and for all of you to do what's required of law and report each other to the proper authorities. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, so the rule of law. He just told this judge in court to do your job, the lawyers to do their job, everybody to report each other for violating the rules and the codes, the rules of professional conduct and the Code of Judicial Conduct, as reporting misconduct is mandatory in both the rules of professional conduct and the Code of Judicial Conduct, and nobody did that. The privation of rights started with his attorney when he hired him and when he talked to him, not going over the legal obligations of all lawyers and judges to him, and not just to him, but the public in general. This would be in the public interest. It clearly states in the preamble of the Rule of Professional Conduct, all lawyers and judges are required to do what's in the public interest and maintain the public trust, not to further their own interests, a parochial interest, or the interest of the court. So the judge and the lawyers, they were legally obligated to report each other for misconduct, but nobody did. I mean, they dropped the case. He went to court. They made him come to court. They tried to convince him just to take a plea deal or something. I don't know. He didn't tell me. But all I know is they dropped the case. I think they took it to trial, and the state didn't want it to go to trial, so they I don't know. You'll have to contact him. He's a brave man. That man, listen, if he practiced this stuff like I have some other people doing it, going through a lot of laws I talk about, you get a lot further in life and things wouldn't happen. Look at
Let's do it.
How can you take an oath and then not live up to it? That's violating law. Violating the oath, there's legal consequences to it. Punishable by removal from office, prison, and fines. And that's for all public servants. That's for all public servants.
Why does it seem like when you make your voting decisions, they're based on capital rather than the working class? Billionaires and corporations got their tax issues enshrined into law forever, but the working class gets a no tax on tips or overtime that only applies to some of us, and now we wind up in a situation where we are. Funded by Richard.
Violating the basic obligations of public service has always been a thing. He's literally talking about politicians violating the basic obligations in public service. And there's a whole lot of laws in there that are being broken. And these people are complaining about it. I hope nobody makes this a political thing. I'm strictly apolitical. I'm just grabbing stuff off of Facebook and talking to you about it, okay? And I'm putting it other places, and hopefully you'll get to talking about it. Not just to me, Chief Justice Roberts. You should really ask him Why are our public servants not enforcing the basic obligations of public service? If they did, then big money could, Wall Street wouldn't own, your politicians, or most of them. They don't own all of them, but uh, lobbying, shadow lobbying, you would have to reassess that, because the way things are being done, it's just no. Basic obligations of public service, people, look it up. You wouldn't have big money in politics. You wouldn't have Wall Street controlling the RNC and the DNC.
With all due respect, sir, the Republican Party, now more than ever, represents the heart and soul of the working class. I want to go right into this bill because I know this is something a lot of people have questions about, and quite frankly, for more.
The fact that she did not file the orders. Not only did I get it from Rich and Rosemont, not only did I get it in Skokie, not only did I go out to Maywood, I came into here and got your chief deputy clerk to say it. So you go ahead and you try to burden me and punish me and violate more of my civil liberties, and I'm going to tell you, this is going to be bad, really bad. I've done nothing wrong. She's lying. Candor to the tribunal. She's not even listening to her own words. She's lying. My own attorney filed out the June. Tell me this. Open up the case right now. Let's have it out. Okay? Look at June 11th orders that you filed. The June 11th orders show that you reinstated the order of protection. Why did you sign them again non-proton on the 24th? It's pretty clear. But again, you state in the record, if you look at the case summary, that you signed non-proton for the November orders. But you know what? Or October 13th. But you didn't. Because you look at your October 13th orders, they're not signed non-proton, but you did sign them on the 19th. I know this record in and out. I know every mistake you guys have made arrogantly, and I'm going to expose it all. Take anything away from me you want. You already have what's most important to me. I'm not going to sit here on the hospital bed and die on about it. And let's bring up the due process of child support that I won't submit to. On May 30th, when I told you didn't have orders for your guardian ad litem, what did you do? You replaced the interference or suspend my parenting time, June 24th date, with child support. You gave me 15 days to reply when in court. You gave me 21. You're all over the place. You're all over the place. And you're going to tell me I'm lying about that? Please, go ahead. I have court witnesses all the time. I have affidavits lined up. Go ahead. Throw your book at me. Do it. Do more. Show your impartiality. I'm the plaintiff.
Your Honor, if I may address the court.
Yes.
There were occasions that Mr. McHugh is referring to with respect to court orders, but we sent the court orders to Mr. McHugh. He did not reply. And so,
Well, no, you didn't. Where did you send them? I'm not going to listen to any more of her lies.
I have a choice. She has the floor.
Go for it, then.
Thank you.
so but Mr. McHugh doesn't respond to the emails seeking approval on the court orders that were drafted. I do also want to note
Lying again.
that while we were here, before the judge took, or Your Honor took the bench, Mr. McHugh called me a scumbag.
Oh,
And twice.
And dog water. Well, you're dog water.
You're going to stop being disrespectful, Mr. McHugh, or we can stop this right now.
Stop it. Stop it.
See, now, if that woman telling him to stop it, if she was actually into law enforcement, if she knew the law, I mean, that's ridiculous putting people to enforce the law that don't know the law, but if she knew all the laws the lawyers and the judge were breaking in a court of law, he effectively proved a conspiracy against rights under the color of law, which is unconstitutional. There's laws against that. It's just that, lawyers and judges, it's a community within our community. It's a society within the society. People talk about what is that called? This one kid used to talk. But it's the deep state, dude. Seriously. Here again, a conspiracy against rights under the color of law, more common than you think. has a tragic story, but if the judges and lawyers were actually doing what, their job, if you went over the preamble and the rules of professional conduct, none of this would have ever happened to this young lady. People say, hey, she's not young anymore. Hey, listen, this is about people here, all right? This is about getting the legal system constitutionally correct, okay? Simple as that. Simple as that. These are some lovely people here. I don't know anybody personally, all right? I'm just a man of the people. As a Christian, I can't help but love thy neighbor, even though they're in different states.
There's some motherfuckers out there that dislike you for absolutely no reason at all. Fuck them.
Nothing can stop me. I'm all the way up. All the way up.
People say I talk a lot, but there's a lot to talk about when it comes to deprivation of rights, when it comes to a conspiracy against rights under the color of law, when it comes to due process, a fair trial, effective assistance of counsel, all your birthrights. As a United States citizen, I'm teaching you your birthrights, and you got to understand that and start teaching your children as young as possible. Sit down and read the Constitution with them. I read it when I was 10 years old, and it put me on this path. And I'm doing my best. If things go the way I want, education will be like it was back in the 50s and the 60s, where college was free and all you had to pay was room and board. I want you all to have the reasonable knowledge to make an informed decision, to give informed consent in any court of law. And the only way you'll have that is if you have the legal knowledge to make an informed decision, to give informed consent in a court of law. And the only way you'll get that is if you are a member of the legal learned profession.
Out of oversight, we heard the names of several judges mentioned quite often. So I'm wondering, in your office, what steps are going to be taken to actually receive these complaints and actually begin to provide more oversight? Provide more oversight for these judges, or at least investigate the concerns that are coming from your victims.
So this may be the first time I was ever grateful that I wasn't a judge anymore when I heard the survivors testify, but survivors testifying, but
glad you're not a judge anymore. I got a lot of videos I posted, mostly on my page Legal Reform. But still, not a judge anymore, but still as an attorney, former judge, having a license to practice law, even if she doesn't have it anymore or doesn't practice law, they were still, the time that they were legally obligated to divulge conspiracy against law, conspiracy against rights under the color of law. I've been doing this for a long time. And this isn't even when I started. This was after about, I don't know, 10 years of homeschooling. I homeschooled myself. Well, not enough, but, hit the books. I've always found the law, intriguing, interesting. But when you go into a court, for me, when you know what I know, for me, it's I'd rather go on Telemundo and watch the novellas, and I don't even speak Spanish. It would be easier for me to understand what's going on there than it is in a courtroom, especially since I know nobody's abiding by any of the laws imposed on those enforcing the laws in a court of law. But this is why I do what I do, because I love what I do. You know, I've worked harder on doing what I do than what most people do making a living at it. All we ask, America, is live up to what you put on paper. May your Creator always be with you. May He rain many blessings. Long life and good health, my friends.